Welcome back to the Open Wide the Doors podcast here at the St. John Paul II Parish. I'm your host for today, Erin Wright. One of the greatest gifts in the life of the church is watching young people discover that they aren't just the future of the church. They are an essential part of the church today. When teenagers say yes to serving, leading, and sharing their faith, they become powerful witnesses to Christ for those around them. Recently, our parish wrapped up Totally Yours Camp, a week-long summer camp where our high school youth group stepped into the role of mentors, leaders, and joyful disciples for our younger parishioners. Through prayer, games, music, and service and friendship, they helped create an environment where children could grow closer to Christ while also growing in their own faith. So today, Jeffrey Kramer.
Hi, Erin. Hi, everybody.
Jeffrey's our Associate Director of Youth and Family Formation. So we're joined today by him and three of those high school leaders. And they're going to talk to us about their experience in Totally Yours, as well as our parish youth group. So thank you all for joining us. Why don't we start with your names and what grade you guys are going into?
Hi, I'm Sylvie. I'm going to be a sophomore in high school.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm going to be a junior in high school.
I'm Jesse. I'm going to be a junior in high school.
Wow. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on here, and I'm excited to hear about Totally Yours. So, Jesse, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Totally Yours Camp is?
So it's a day camp for grades 1st through 8th. It originally came around because Totus Tuus, the missionary program that's like nationwide, got canceled in our archdiocese. So after it got canceled, we decided we kind of needed to do something because there was a lot of kids looking forward to it, including myself. Because the year before was my first year volunteering, and I fell in love with it immediately. There's a lot of fun. There's a different theme every year. This year's theme was Come to the Table. So every day we would teach the kids about a different one of Jesus' miracles involving food. One of the days was the wedding at Cana, loaves of fishes, things like that. And it's a lot of fun. The kids love it every year. We've had kids crying because they didn't want to go home. There's a lot of like songs and things like that. And it's a really fun camp. And I'm really lucky I got to be a part of it this year.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. I love the themes and so I got to share a little story. I was in the building the first day, and then I took pictures on the Thursday or something like that when you guys were doing the wedding at Cana. And I walked down there, and there's like a dance party happening, and like the lights are like dimmed, and like the Cupid Shuffle is playing, and I'm like, what's happening? And one of the kids came up and I was like, what, are you guys just having a dance party, or like what's going on? And they're like, it's a wedding reception for the wedding at Cana. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like, I'm just oblivious. I didn't know. But that was like, it was a pretty cool thing to see.
No, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We always lead dances every year. Yep. Kids always ask us every day. They're like, can we dance today? Can we dance today?
Oh, yeah.
It's one of their favorite things to do, like maybe between like lunch and crafts and things like that. It's also really good to kill time if we need to.
Yeah.
Tire them out.
Yeah.
I mean, you're with them the whole day.
Dancing is really useful before you go back into the classroom, because then they're kind of tired. They need to sit down for a minute, and they need a drink of water. So you're like, okay, now that I have you here, now you can listen. I taught the 1st and 2nd grade class, so that was especially helpful for them.
Yeah.
Except for like a few kids who just like the more they went, the
more
hyper they got.
Depends on.
Yeah, it does. But dancing was a big part of this year.
That's really cool. So while we're kind of talking about activities, Sylvie, do you want to tell us a little bit more of what you guys did during the camp?
We did a lot of fun things, but we also had a lot of serious, very faith-building things. So we had mass every single day, which a lot of the kids, some of them didn't enjoy it, but I feel like at the end of the week they ended up enjoying it a lot because it's just something calm before lunch to get them settled down. And then we had quiet prayer or stuff before lunch or before mass, and we had confession, we had adoration. Going along with that, we also had a lot of fun things. We did crafts every afternoon. We had classroom time, games, snack, lunch, and then we sometimes eat and make food, which was really fun, and the kids really enjoyed that. I remember day 3, I believe, we made bread, and the kids really enjoyed putting the ingredients in and helping make the bread. And as much as we try to have as much fun as possible, we make sure the kids also have time with God to grow their faith, and it's really cool seeing throughout the week them. go closer with God.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that there's daily mass for the camp, and we had to adjust the mass times from 8 a.m. to like 11:15 so that the campers could go to mass. I think that's so cool. That's such a pretty important part of any camp. I don't hear very often of summer camps where mass is included and like prayer time. It's usually like classroom and like fun games and activities that all link back to some biblical story or something like that. But yeah, mass is pretty cool.
What's really cool for me is, honestly, I think this is the best year, like the best group of kids we've ever had. Like they all they're very attentive and they'll pay attention. There's some fidgeters, but it's very like, they're all very attentive during mass. And that just, it warms my heart because they're all just like paying attention and
They're all excited to learn.
they're all excited to like,
to learn and
to
to
pay
grow. And
attention.
you can, as soon as they walk in, you can just see it on their face. Like they're ready. Like whatever you tell them, they're there to soak it all in.
That's awesome. That's great. That's good. I'm glad to hear that you had a good year, another good year. And you guys been this total yours that from the parish has been going on for what, 3 years?
I believe
3 years.
3 years.
Mhm. So, and then there was the Totus Tuus that came from the Archdiocese. But that's pretty cool. Have you guys been a part of the Total Yours the past 3 years? Or
Yeah, I was a volunteer, I believe, my 7th and 8th grade year doing Totus Tuus. And then I was a freshman assistant for the first year of Total Yours. Yeah.
It was a volunteer my 7th grade year, and then my 8th grade year I was a camper because I made it through 8th grade. And then freshman year I was a camp assistant, and then I was a group, like a leader my sophomore year.
Yeah, I've been doing it for all 3 years. I've been an assistant and a teacher. This year I was a floater, so I got to go around and see a bunch of I'll go into all the classrooms and kind of hang out with a little bit of everyone.
Nice. That's pretty cool. So, was there anything that like really stood out to you guys? Like a moment with a kid or I don't know, anything. Did anything stand up to you guys?
There was one kid who in past years, he was in Totus Tuus too. Brilliant kid. So smart, but just really hyper, a handful. But this year he grew up a lot. He was still him. He was still kind of hyper, but he was really helpful because his little brother was in my class. He was really helpful with him, and you could tell that he really loved why he was there. And you could tell that he wanted to share with everybody else what he was feeling for God, and that really spoke to me because I remember we were just asking the kids questions before Mass. I think it was on the first or second day. We were just asking them some basic questions about the Mass. And then he raises his hand, which he never used to do. And then he stands up and he gives this whole spiel about the miracle of the Eucharist and everything that happens at Mass and how lucky all of us are to get to witness that every day this week. And that spoke to a lot of kids as well as almost all the leaders too. That was a really cool thing to see.
That's really cool. It's probably like really cool to see like the growth between the students, especially if you're going from year to year and you have the same campers coming in and watching them grow. That's pretty cool. What stood out to you, Sam?
One thing that stood out to me is we've had a lot of really good junior high groups in past years, but they always kind of have a little bit of difficulty because they feel very close to us leaders since we're not that much older than they are. And so we like to have them help out with things so that they can feel, more included and since a lot of the activities are centered towards a bunch of the younger groups and the younger ages. And this year, our junior high group was so helpful. They did a bunch of different, they helped with crafts every afternoon and they did a whole bunch of stuff and they were really helpful this year. And that kind of really stood out to me because in past years, we've always had a good group, but they were just like really on top of it this year.
So are they like, do they kind of help out with the camp or are they like campers?
So they technically are campers, but they do help out with a lot of stuff like throughout the week. So we do like a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff, but they help out in afternoon crafts. They set up the crafts and they do activities with the kids. And then they, they'll help set up stuff for recess and things. And we like to give them little jobs here and there just so that they can kind of help out and have some more things to do.
That's like a good transition role from campers to leaders. I feel like so.
Yeah. It's kind of like a second straight team, Mm-hmm. Whenever we need a break, we're like, all right, you guys can take care of them for a minute.
It's their prep. It's like their pre-leader.
Yeah,
I'm
like
sure we're
that.
going to see a lot of them next year as assistants and leaders too.
that's pretty cool. I can imagine, like, as you get older and you step into this new role and you're like, oh, I'm in junior high now, I can help out with this. Or now I'm a freshman, now I can be a camp assistant and then a leader. That sounds pretty cool. I wish I was a part of that. We didn't have this when I was in youth group. I don't think, or maybe I missed it. I don't really know. It's several years ago. But so what stood out to you, Sylvie?
So what stood out to me is a lot of these kids really, really look up to you. So I helped teach confession or was there and passed out sheets and kind of went over it with them. And I told them when I was their age, because my group is third graders, and I was like, I really struggled with going to confession because I was embarrassed of my sins and I was embarrassed to tell the priest. But then I told them, and I was like, I realized how much better I feel after knowing that my sins are forgiven and that I'm forgiven for the bad things I did. And a lot of these kids, they were so attentive, even the rowdy ones. And it really touched me that they were listening. And every single one of the kids that I told that story to, they all went to confession. And that really touched me. It was powerful. Every single one of these kids listened, they all went to confession. And after this little girl came up to me and she was like, thank you for telling me that. I haven't gone to confession in 2 years. And your story made me feel like I wanted to go. And I was like, or not 2 years. It was a while, but she told me it made her feel like she wanted to go to confession, and that really touched my heart. And I was like, I love the feeling of people feeling comfortable through my words.
Yeah, that's a beautiful God moment that God is working so beautifully through your story, and you're able to relate that to children. You said you had third grade.
Yeah, third grade.
Yeah, so that's really cool. That's got to be really cool that you had that impact on some children. You can help them grow closer to God and not be afraid to go to confession, because that's something that a lot of adults struggle with today still, and to help a third grader work on getting over that fear. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So cool.
A lot of the third graders, they had questions. They're like, I'm scared, I don't know what order. And I was like, all the priests are so nice and they'll help you. They know that you're this is your first or second year taking confession and there's nothing to be scared about. And I gave them a little sheet and had the order of things, and I was like, if you forget your act of contrition, and just really touched my heart.
That's so cool. So did you guys go to confession every day, or have confession available every day?
Yeah. Up until we could Friday, but it was typically just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know if it was Monday. I don't think I helped with confession.
Every group went a different day. So every level we would do. So every day, then a different level would go, so everybody could have a chance to go to confession.
Nice. That's really cool. I love that the sacraments, in Mass and confession and adoration, was the same schedule for adoration. Each group went a different day.
Yeah, every level went a different day, and I led the adoration. We would go up and have just a really good prayerful time, and it was really awesome to see, and it was just a really cool experience.
My first and second grade class, really hyper. I had the most kids this year too. And when I took them up for confession, they were all sitting down, and it was awesome because they were some of them were sitting on the floor, some were kneeling behind the chairs, some of them were just sitting down with their eyes closed. But they were all listening to Sam, and they were all going through this. And it was really cool to seeing them all fully immersed in what was going on, because that never happens.
Yeah, I can imagine with some younger kids, it's hard to get their attention.
I think that was definitely one of the coolest parts, is because every level has their wiggly, rowdy kids, but as soon as they got up there, and it was all I led them through it. We followed a script, and so it was very organized. So even if they didn't really know how to go through adoration, we would kind of lead them through. And every single day there was a couple kids that I was like, oh, I'm a little worried for, maybe they won't do so good. But every single day they, I think especially some of those kids they just sit, and they would sit still, eyes closed, and they would just pray. And it was so awesome to see.
Yeah, there's something to be said about being in the true presence of the Lord. And, God works in mysterious ways and can calm a rowdy kid and just being in the presence. So how has being a leader at Total Yours Camp impacted your guys' faith? Has that helped you guys in years past or this year? Has there been a moment that inspired your faith a little bit more?
I think just seeing how the kids will follow God, like seeing how because they're young enough so that things like doubt and like outside things haven't had as much of an effect as they have on teenagers especially, but adults and everything. And I think kids are a really good reminder for us to not grow old and tired in our faith, because not childish faith, but childlike faith. So just complete and total faith. Like it's seeing that in them kind of revives that in you.
Yeah.
And that was a really big thing for me because they loved it. And that was such a big part of their lives that a lot of people forget about today. And it kind of just reminded me to not get tired, and that was a really big thing for me.
Yeah. I really like like you said, the childlike faith, not the childish faith, because yeah, we are all God's children, and we're all called to have that total surrender, total dependence towards God, and just giving him our all and knowing that he's going to take care of us. And so, yeah, like looking towards young kids.
Yes.
I can definitely see how that would be like very impactful. Like,
Yeah.
that's really beautiful. I'm glad that you had the opportunity to experience that. So,
Yeah, I feel like it's really easy to get like lazy in your faith, and seeing all these kids just really is inspiring. And I feel like this week, or my Totus to this week, I've prayed probably the most I've prayed in a long time, and it really just impacted me. And my favorite quote, I was chatting with my friend on the bus the other day, and she's not Catholic, but she's like a devout Christian. And she told me, like, one time she was cleaning her room or she was, like, too lazy to clean her room, and she just felt like somebody told her, and she said, this is, like, my favorite thing she's ever told me. She said, you say you want your room clean and have it clean all the time, but you don't clean your room or do the things to prevent it from getting messy. You say you want a strong relationship with God, but you're not doing things to get a strong relationship or doing things to prevent you from going away from God. And, like, that was, like, it, like, clicked, and I was like, wow. Like, it was really powerful.
yeah, that's, I like the cleaning the room analogy because yeah, like we all say that we want this like devout relationship. We want this standard. We want in our life, or we want this in our life, but then we don't take the time or the effort to actually do it. And it's kind of a reminder like, no, this a good relationship with the Lord doesn't just get handed to us. It takes work, it takes effort, and all of that.
Just
really
like,
cool.
yeah, that just like really hit me. Like, we are like a cross country camp, and it was like the week after Totus to us. And I really, really thought about that. And I could just feel like the Lord through her. And like that night, and like I didn't really pray that much that past week. I felt like after Totally Yours. And like I just sat in my camp bed and I prayed because like I just felt like that quote really hit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like it's whatever sparks something, ignites a fire in your heart or whatever. It's so beautiful, and the Lord is reaching out to you in whatever way He can and meeting you where you're at. And you can go from having everyone in their life goes from having periods of time where they're like really devout in prayer, and then there's periods of time where you don't pray at all. Just there's ebbs and flows, and it's the Lord is constantly trying to meet you where you're at. That's really cool. I'm like, glad to hear that you experienced that and like had that relationship with your friend too to make that connection. So that's really cool.
Yeah, we were just like on a cross country bus, and it was like late, and we were coming back from like an evening run, and all of a sudden we just started talking about her faith, and I was like, wow,
it's beautiful.
Like, it was beautiful.
And
I asked her, and I was like, what'd you say again? Because I wanted to share at this like podcast, and I was like, what was like the exact thing you said? Because I remember it, but I didn't remember it word for word, so I literally just asked her like 20 minutes ago, like, what was the exact thing?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is, I really like that quote. Yeah, I'll have to play this back and listen to it again. So yeah, what about you, Sam?
I think definitely the camp had a really big impact the first year I did it. I first was an assistant my freshman year, and I definitely wasn't as active in my faith like as I am now. And I think it's just their like joy and excitement is so contagious because they're so excited to learn, and they're so happy to be there and growing in their faith. And just like when you see the kids being like so happy and so excited, even if we're doing a boring classroom lesson or something, they're still like so excited, and it just like it kind of gives you that excitement to like keep going and to like be more alive in your faith and more, connected with it.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, kids are a great way to get excited about anything. And like it's, you can take them to the zoo, you can take them to anything and you're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to the zoo," just because you have a little kid. But yeah, like having kids to kind of show you and help you reignite that spark in your faith, like Jesse said, like the childlike faith.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. I love hearing that they're like all of the kids are like so excited and so eager to learn.
They always get so excited. Like we have people greet them at the doors and bring them downstairs, and every day, like as soon as they see a leader or an assistant or even one of the adults, they just get the biggest smile on their face. And a lot of times if I'm bringing kids out, I always ask them, "Are you excited for today?" And they always are like so excited, and they always tell me yes, and they like can't wait for everything that we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's got to be really cool to like see that like you guys are really impacting these youth and like you're a big role model to them and they all look up to you and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see Sam, Jesse, and Sylvie." And like it's yeah.
Yeah, we really do have a lasting effect on these kids, and you see it because I'll see like some of my students and some of the other campers outside of the camp, and they will recognize me and they'll smile and wave, and then they'll talk to their parents. They're like, "Hey, it's Mr. Jesse," and I'll wave at them. I'll talk to them, and like on the last day when after we all had our fun, and parents are here to pick all the kids up, and then there's kids running up to you and they're giving you hugs and asking if you'll be there next year. And they're just saying all these things like they're going to miss you. And like I said near the beginning of this, there's kids crying because they didn't want to leave.
That's so sad.
It's fine. I had a stuffed cow in my classroom that helped with that a lot. I also had a buffalo, and they both helped a lot.
They like emotional support.
No, they were. Yeah, this girl, she was a first grader this year, so she was new to this. She kind of had a rough time. She had a couple of rough days, but she still loved it. But I would give her Bessie, this cow, and she'd just sit on the couches that were in my classroom. She'd just sit with him, with her. She'd sit with Bessie, and that was her favorite part of the camp too, because Bessie was there for her.
I love that.
Yeah.
Who came up with the name?
Bessie has been around. Since Totus Tuus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bessie's been around a long time, and I believe the Beast has too.
Man.
Yeah. The Beast is our buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like 2022?
I think it was.
I think it was. That was a long time.
ago.
It was like, I think it was when I was in 7th grade or 6th grade, maybe. I think, wasn't it like I think it was like, was it Totus Tuus or was it a retreat?
It was Totus Tuus, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, I love the Bessie and the Beast, and do they come out at all in other parts?
Yeah,
of
they would
the
come
year,
out. They would come
or
out sometime. I know last year. I don't think we did it at all this year, but I remember last year they were in some of the skits that we did for the kids. So for Bessie, we gave her a little halo and some angel wings, and she was our angel for this skit that she was in. Oh, by the way, we do skits for the kids. So we'll we'll do something in the morning. That's we did the wedding at King. We did the Last Supper. We did things like that. We did biblically relevant, like to the lesson,
Scripture based.
Yeah, scripture. But then we also did some in the afternoon that were just funny, and it just got the kids excited, and it was a lot of fun for them and for us because we would all dress up in just a bunch of goofy stuff, and we'd go out there and we just we would tell the kids that we were Australian actors.
Every day we would miss the skit, and then the kids would have to then tell us what happened in the skit. We would pick a kid that was like sitting quietly because it wasn't us that did the skit, it was our Australian actors. And we have only the best for the kids, so we bring them all the way from Australia.
So do the Australian actors have Australian accents?
Sometimes.
Yeah. They were very good at hiding them for the skits, but
yeah.
One of the things we would do, we would have the kids yell, "Lights, camera, action," to try and get them out here. And then it would usually be Sam, or one of the other leaders who actually is Australian. She would do it too.
But yeah. I think Sam's was better though.
Yeah.
We would yell out like either like "I can't hear you" or "too loud, hurt my ears," like one more time kind of thing. So they would do it a couple times, and then we would go out and start the skit.
Oh,
It was a lot of fun, especially for me because I was the only guy in the team
Yeah.
this year, and so I played a pregnant lady in one of the skits,
Oh,
and the
okay.
kids loved that. I think that was either Monday or Tuesday. It was Monday.
Yeah.
Then there would be times they would put like sheets over me and stuff, and like they gave me like a tutu and just a bunch of random stuff, and I'd be jumping around, and I'd be doing twirls and clicking my heels just to make the kids laugh, and that was one of my favorite parts of the camp, and it has been every year.
That's so cool, man. So, did you have a role in the skit, Sylvie?
I did. I had a decent amount. I was the TV person. Yeah, I control the TV, and
Oh, yeah.
so some of my fellow Australian actors did some like reenacted the channels I was clicking.
Yeah.
We do a couple, and some of our fun skits. We do some improv type skits where what we did this year was Sylvie was watching the TV, and three of us were we were the TV, and she would tell us what channel she wanted to see, and we just have to come up with something just to make the kids laugh. And so we'd really quickly just like figure something out, and somebody would just start saying something, and we just have to kind of play along.
So fun.
I think my favorite one to do, Sylvie said Dancing with the Stars is one of the channels. And one of the other leaders that were in the musical at Springboro this past year, we did one of the dances from that. So it was like this big bold stance, and the kids loved that. That wasn't necessarily improv because I told her we should do that we had like a general outline, but we had to make up the actual TV program as we went.
Man, this sounds very entertaining. I think next year I might just be around for the whole camp.
Yeah,
I like Raisin Bran.
Raisin Bran was
Raisin Bran was fun.
Raisin Bran is a skit we do every year, and the kids love it. It's definitely one of their favorites, where we have like raisins, where they make trash bags to show that they're raisins. And they run around singing, "It's the raisins that make Raisin Bran so great." And we have King Spoon, which in the past has been Jesse or Joel even, but this year and last year it was Jesse. And King Spoon will come and steal the raisins away. And then at the end, the last raisin will fight back. And so the raisins will win over King Spoon. And the kids always get so excited for it. We always do it on the last day because they'll get a little bit rowdy afterwards. Yeah. They get super excited.
That sounds very funny. Yeah.
I had to sprint around St. Mary's, I think, like 3 times.
Yeah.
I did. I got locked out of the church, I think, twice.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I had to run around with kids for like 15 minutes. I was just going.
And there was improv too because I remember you got tired of running.
Yeah.
And I was jogging down the hallway. I was so tired.
I got tired of running.
You saying, I say raisins, you say bread, and you're doing that for a few seconds.
Because because we'd go around them and we're like singing and jumping up and down, and I got so tired. I was like, I need to stop moving.
I was wanting to do it after 5 minutes.
I need to figure something out to get me to stop running around.
I can imagine that you guys are probably very tired at the end of the day dealing with all of this like high energy leader.
Yeah.
And then kids.
You kind of don't realize how tired you get either.
Oh yeah.
Because like you're riding a high the whole week because the kids are high energy and you have to keep your energy up.
Adrenaline.
Lots of energy drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I drank so much coffee that week too. But then on Friday night, you kind of just hit a wall. And then all the exhaustion that was building up throughout the week finally hits you.
No.
It's over.
Oh no, it 100% is off.
It is. Yeah, that sounds so cool. Like I said, I think next year I might just stick around for the whole camp and we'll see what happens.
Okay, we had a lot of volunteers this year. Yeah, so
that's pretty cool. All right. Well, I'll have my camera ready. So let's get into talking about youth group. Because this is this is like the summer session of youth group, I would kind of guess. Your high school youth is kind of leading this camp. So Sam, do you want to tell us a little bit about what a typical youth group night looks like?
Yeah. So the youth group night, it's very I feel like it's very relaxed, but we still get into like faith and stuff. But we all start by when we get down into the church, we start by either playing like a lead game, or people kind of hang around and you talk a little bit as we like wait for everybody to kind of arrive. And we do that for a little while. And then a lot of days we either have a group bring in food or make food, or sometimes we'll just have like a snack, but a lot of times we'll have a meal. And so we all, come together and then we pray and we eat before. And so that can be a time that you can kind of, hang out and just have kind of a relaxing at the end of the day, kind of just sit down with friends. And so we have our meal and then we do either like a lead lesson or we'll have some speakers talk, or we had this year, we did a question and answer with some of our seniors about like colleges and like applying for colleges and stuff like that for some of us like younger high schoolers. And then towards the end of the night, we go into small groups. So the small groups are led by either senior or junior youth group members. And we have like reflection questions, and we just do like have a little conversation based on the questions that kind of bounce off of the lesson that we had that day, just to kind of like end the night and just to kind of like calm down from everything. After we have our small group, then we all join back together for a closing prayer. And then you can hang out for a little bit longer, or you can head out whenever you need to.
That's really cool. And this happens on Sunday nights.
Yes, Sunday nights
for high school, and then Wednesday nights
for
junior. For junior high. That's pretty cool. So you start with the game.
Yes.
I'm guessing that's kind of like an icebreaker thing.
Yeah, a lot of the times, like on the first couple of months that we have at the beginning of like the school year, we'll do some icebreaker games or some name games, just kind of like get to know people, like new people that are coming in and the freshmen that are joining us that year. And then throughout the year, we go in and we do big groups, like we've done stuff outside, or if the weather's bad, we do stuff inside, or even we've had some snow days where we just go out and we go play in the snow and just hang out.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, like, what kind of topics do you guys talk about? Like, is it like a theme per night or something like that?
Sometimes, a lot of times we've done like saints, and so we'll talk about like a saint or two, or we do just any faith lesson kind of things, and we'll talk about some specific things with the faith and like some of the mysteries and things like that. But some of the times we'll have the small groups, like we'll lead a lesson on a saint.
That's pretty cool. That's I like the team leadership that's going on, helps to build the leadership aspect in your lives, and you guys experienced that through Totally Yours. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we have lots of like volunteer opportunities for the teens to kind of, start to grow their leadership skills. And we have like a leadership camps, but you can help with first community retreats and confirmation retreats. And we're given a lot of like volunteer opportunities to kind of help and be able to lead stuff and kind of grow those skills.
That's pretty cool. That is really cool. I mean, those opportunities are, I'm sure, very beneficial for your guys' future and like moving on to college and things like that. So real quick before we leave, do you guys want to share like a particular night or retreat or something that has really made a difference in your guys' like life, your prayer life, right?
Yeah, I think one thing that's like really been really impactful, it was the high school winter retreat that we do. I've done it the past 2 years that I've been in the high school youth group, and we go like to a place, I forget where we went, Camp Kern. And so we go out and we'll stay overnight, but we have activities, we have fun activities, and then we do lots of faith-based activities, and we have prayer time. And it's always really cool because you get to like spend that time like with your friends, but like at the same time you're spending it with God as well. And like it's just a really like big like growing opportunity.
I can remember when I was in youth group, having that group of people that you were with definitely helped to develop your faith a little bit more, because you have that relationship with God and you're spending that time in prayer, but then you have friends who are also Catholic and who also are experiencing something similar, and you can share your experience and they can kind of reinforce what you're experiencing.
It's definitely a good way to like kind of be like held accountable too, because if you have a friend like at youth group or something, like if you didn't go just because you like didn't feel like it or something, then you can have that friend be like, hey, where are you? Like, come join us. Come like be in this prayerful time and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way to just like stay like in it and stay like alive with your faith.
That's so cool. That's so beautiful. Zoe, is there anything that's like really stood out to you that has helped you on your faith journey?
I feel like, just the people I surround myself with. I've met some of my closest friends through church, and like I don't get to see them very often because of like we go to different schools, but it's really cool meeting people from different schools.
Yeah. it's nice to have that home base. And we have one parish with one youth group, so we have students coming to youth group from like Miamisburg. I'm Centerville, Springboro. I don't know what other school districts, but like we're spread across.
We had a couple from Centerville and Miamisburg. And
There's also people from like places like Fenwick,
Yeah.
CJ,
Bishop.
wherever else. Bishop level.
Well, like
No.
junior high, yeah.
Alter.
Yeah.
Jesse, do you have a highlight, a night, or anything that stood out to you before we leave? No.
There was one because I believe I was in 8th grade when this happened. But I believe it was in August, right before I was going into 8th grade. And I don't usually go to retreats and stuff just because I have other things that like I need to do. But no insult to you guys. Like I would go if I could, but there's just other things that
Something gets in the way.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But there was one that I went on. There was one that I went on in the summer. It was at St. Mary's, and it was a really fun night. It was the first year, I believe. It was the first year I met Sam, actually, when we were both going into 8th grade at the time. We were both pretty new to the youth group too, and we hit it off. We became really good friends. And that night, at that point in my life, I was kind of like in a low spot, and I got pretty lazy, and I was a little bit bitter. But I was just in a rough spot in my faith and in my life in general. And that night, because again, I didn't usually go to these things. And that night kind of changed that because everybody was having so much fun, and we were playing games and having a lot of fun. There were some witness talks too, and those really spoke to me as well. Those were the first ones that I really like paid attention to. There's one quote that I still remember to this day. It's from one of the leaders. I haven't talked to him in years, but he said, "If you don't have anything to die for, then you have nothing to live for." And I take that to heart a lot because one of his points was, if you're not willing to be a martyr for God, then you're not fully like living with God, you know. And that really spoke to me, and that kind of turned me around in my faith. It pulled me out of that rut that I was in.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that was really special. Right?
That's really cool. I really love that saying that like if you're not willing to die for something, then how can you really live for something as well? So that's really cool. That's another thing that I'm gonna take away from this conversation and like reflect on that later. That is really cool. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your experience with Totally Yours and youth group, and just coming on here on our parish podcast. It's really neat talking to you guys.
Thank you for letting us come and talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So one of the most encouraging things about today's conversation is the reminder that discipleship has no age requirement. God doesn't wait until we're older, more experienced, or have everything figured out before calling us to make a difference. He simply asks us to be willing to say yes. May we all continue to grow as disciples, encourage one another in faith, and remember that no matter our age, God calls each of us to serve with joyful hearts. Until next time, God bless.